Now, let's look at what is on the screen. What you are looking at on the screen is the result of the 2023 Nigerian presidential election. From the result, you can see that Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC led the election with about 8.7 million votes. Then he was followed by Atiku Abubakar of the PDP with about 6.9 million votes. Then Peter Obi of the Labour Party had about 6.1 million votes. And then Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso of the NNPP had about 1.5 million votes. Now, if you add the votes of Atiku, Obi, and Kwankwaso together, you are getting over 14 million votes. So the question for 2027 now is straightforward. If these three come together under one party, can they defeat Tinubu? Now, let's look at this coalition under ADC. This coalition simply means Atiku Abubakar will pull out votes from the northern region where he has long-standing influence. Then Peter Obi will bring in the youth votes, the urban centers, and that strong movement we saw across major cities in 2023. And Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso will deliver Kano and parts of the northwest where he has a solid grassroots structure. When you put all of that together, you are looking at a very strong national spread. We have seen this kind of alignment before when the All Progressives Congress came together and defeated Goodluck Jonathan in 2015. But let me say it clearly. It looks like it's possible to defeat APC, but this is not an easy game considering how rooted the APC has become since their victory in 2023. Now, let's consider what has changed since 2023. A lot has changed politically. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is no longer campaigning, he is now in power. And with power comes control. We are seeing stronger influence within APC, more political alignments, and increasing pressure on opposition structures. There are also growing signs of defections and in Nigerian politics that usually favors the ruling party. So the question now is, will those 2023 voting numbers remain intact by 2027? Now, let's look at Tinubu's structure. Tinubu is not just contesting, he is operating a full political structure. From his days in Lagos politics up to the national level, he has built networks that are based on loyalty and long-term alliances. Now, as president, that structure has expanded even further. When you add federal power to political structure, it becomes very difficult to dislodge. So any coalition coming under ADC must be ready to face not just a candidate, but a system. Now, let's consider defections. Defections will play a major role going into 2027 because politicians don't just move alone, they move with influence. They move with supporters, local leaders, and voting blocs. If key figures from PDP, Labour Party, or NNPP begin to move into APC, then that combined vote advantage starts reducing. So the real question here is, can ADC hold its structure together without losing key players? Now, let's look at loyalty inside ADC. This is where things can become very complicated. The leaders may agree at the top, but elections are decided at the grassroots. So we have to ask, will Obi supporters fully transfer their loyalty if he is not the main candidate? Will Atiku's base remain solid if power shifts within the coalition? Will Kwankwaso's supporters follow completely without resistance? Because Nigerian voters are strongly attached to individuals, not just parties. If that loyalty is not complete, then those combined numbers may not fully reflect at the ballot. Now, let's consider past political history. Nigeria has seen coalitions succeed, and we have also seen them fail. The APC merger in 2015 worked because there was clear direction and strong coordination, and it led to the defeat of an incumbent president. But we have also seen alliances break down due to internal disagreements, power struggles, and lack of trust. So history is telling us something very important. It is one thing to come together, it is another thing to stay together and win together. Now, let's look at Tinubu's policies and public perception. By 2027, performance will matter. Nigerians will look at the economy, the cost of living, and security. If people feel improvement, then Tinubu's position becomes stronger. If people are dissatisfied, then the opposition gains momentum. So beyond coalition, public sentiment will play a key role. Now, let's bring everything together. If ADC is able to keep all its supporters united, maintain strong structure across the country, and prevent major defections, then they have a real chance of defeating APC. But if there is division, loss of structure, or weak loyalty among supporters, then APC still holds the advantage. And finally, let me put it clearly. The question for 2027 is simple. Can this coalition hold and deliver its full strength at the ballot? If they can, then Bola Ahmed Tinubu is in serious trouble. If they cannot, then he remains the strongest contender going into that election.